All right, hey everybody, this is Rosh, and you're watching Helix Basics. This is a YouTube tutorial series I'm putting together to help new and experienced users program their Line 6 Helix. So a little about myself. Once again, my name is Rosh, and I build and program guitar rigs out here in the LA area, as well as online. Some of my clients include Steve Vai, Leppard, Melissa Etheridge, Perfect Circle, Bush, Maroon 5, Kylie Minogue, and more. So I wanted to get back to the Helix community and show some tips and tricks on how to program their Line 6 Helix. If you're watching this YouTube channel, you've definitely seen me post a lot of fractal audio content. And one of the things a lot of people don't know about me is I program all the modelers out there on the market, including the Kemper, the Quad Cortex, all the fractal products, and in this case, the Line 6 Helix Floor. So there's a lot of crossover content. There's a lot of best practices no matter what modeler you choose. And I wanted to give back to the community and show you those tips. So this video is going to actually be related to the previous video, which is basically building a gig ready preset. But now we're going to dive into snapshots. So snapshots are a really useful tool that can work with your workflow, especially in a live gigging context. So here's a common scenario. So let's assume maybe you are using the dirty channel of this amp and everything like that. So if you followed along with the previous tutorial, we built a gig ready preset where we're basically using the placator clean and the placator dirty for our main amp sound. So we have like a clean and a dirty channel of an amp. And then I built in some, effects that may show up, let's say you're in a cover band or something like that. But now a very common scenario is, for example, let's say you want to have a lead sound. So you would turn on your delay and the EQ, and then coming out of the guitar solo, you would want to switch to the clean channel, but then you also need to turn off the delay and the EQ. And that can just get really cumbersome really quick because, again, you would have to be pressing down on multiple pedals. So walk through the scenario with this. You can, of course, watch the video I did with exactly this using a gig ready preset using the front panel. But again, if you just walk through the scenario, you're turning off the EQ, you're turning off the delay, and you're also switching the amp channel. So that would be 3 button presses coming out of a guitar solo. So a lot of users don't really like this cumbersome tap dancing workflow. And instead, you may want to just press between, different sounds using 1 button press. So that's where snapshots come in. So you can see that up here in this part of the menu, you have up to 8 snapshots. And snapshots are basically a way to turn on and off multiple effects. Now, you can go a step further, and I'll make a video about this, but you can go a step further with snapshots, and you can also even control parameters of different effect blocks in each snapshot. So the first thing that we want to do is, if you look in these snapshots, you have 8 different ones. And if you want to turn on, if you want to, assign something to a snapshot, what you can do, of course, is you can turn on and off effects within the snapshot. So let's say we wanted to build a clean sound. So the first thing that we would do is, of course, we would definitely want to turn off the dirty channel, turn on the clean channel, and then we would want to load that into snapshot 1. So right now we can see that only the clean channels on the cabinet is on, and we get a sound like this. Now, on the front panel, this is a lot more cumbersome to do, but in HX Edit, it's really easy. So now that we've assigned whatever effects we want on and off into snapshot 1, it's going to be there for all time. And what we can do is we can go up to the snapshots menu, and we can, of course, rename the snapshots. So let's rename this clean. And what's going to happen is on the snapshot buttons on the Helix, what you can do, it'll also display that instead of just saying snapshot 1. So now we have a clean sound. So let's say the next step is that we would want maybe a crunch sound. So again, we're not using the dirty channel of this amp, but we want to use the clean sound with the distortion pedal on. So it would be just as simple as going to the second snapshot. And as you can see, as we go to the second snapshot, a lot of these effects fire on and off. So what we would want to do is, of course, go through each of the effects, turn on and off whatever we don't want. So in this case, I've turned off both the EQ, the delay, the modulation, which is a chorus, the dirty channel of the amp, but I do want the distortion and the amp on. So now we get this sound, as opposed to snapshot 1, which is just the clean sound. So you can see that the distortion turns off. And again, a really useful shortcut if you are on a Mac is that you can use the command key, or the Apple key as I like to call it, and then hit toggle between 1 and 2. So here's command 1, and then here's command 2 going to snapshot 2. Of course, we can also rename the snapshot, and we can call this crunch. So again, toggling between snapshot 1 is a clean sound, and then toggling between 1 and 2, you get a kind of crunch sound. Now, snapshots aren't limited to only turning on one effect at a time. You can turn on multiple effects. So we'll address that in just a short second. So the third snapshot maybe would be you would want to use the dirty channel of the amp, but with nothing else on. So again, I would go to snapshot number 3, turn on and off effects that I would want. So we're going to turn off the modulation, turn off the delay, and turn off the EQ. You can hit the little power button right above the icon, or I'm clicking on the block and then using the space bar to turn them on or off. So now in snapshot 3, we have the rock rhythm kind of sound that we're going for. And again, we can rename the snapshot to whatever we like. So let's call this rhythm. So now again, we have a clean sound, we have a crunch sound, and then we have our rock rhythm sound. So again, you can see that going from the crunch sound, we are taking this amp, which is the clean channel, and the dirty on. These two blocks are on, and when we go to the rhythm sound, both of these turn off and this turns on, and this is all in one foot press. So let's say in snapshot number 4, we would want a lead sound. So in the lead sound, I would definitely want the overdrive pedal on, the dirty channel of the amp on. I don't need the chorus, but I would want the delay on and the reverb, and I would also want the EQ on. So you can see that is 1, 2, 3, 4 effects on, and with one button press. So here would be the quote unquote lead sound that you would use. So obviously we wouldn't want to have to do a bunch of tap dancing, because if we went from the lead sound all the way back to, let's say, a clean sound, you would have to press 3 or 4 foot switches. And now we can just do it all in one snapshot. So let's rename this snapshot into a lead sound. So the cool thing is you don't have to increment between snapshots. You can jump between any of these snapshots. So you can go from a lead sound to a clean sound. So I'll demonstrate that. So here is the lead sound. And then we go right to the clean. And one thing I noticed right here is the delay does not have the trails on. So let's turn on the trails. And then now you can hear that coming out of a guitar solo, you'll have the trails of the echo. And then you can switch right to the clean. Pretty useful. So again, you could be coming out of a guitar solo, and then maybe it goes to the clean section, or section of a song that requires the clean amp. You can jump between the lead sound and any one of these sounds that you've already built into a snapshot. Now, you aren't limited just to, your basic sounds. So for example, snapshot 5, we could use maybe the clean amp, but with a chorus. So what we can do is, again, I want to select and turn on and off whatever effects I want and don't want. So in this case, I don't want the EQ on, I do want the reverb, no delay, but I do want the chorus on the clean channel. So this is what it would sound like. And then again, that's just kind of slightly different than just using the regular clean sound. And again, super useful. So right here, we just want to make sure that the EQ is off. So what I'll do is, again, I will rename the snapshot. We can call this clean plus CHO. So clean plus chorus. So again, just a slight variation between the clean sound and a clean sound with a chorus. So here's snapshot number 5. Here's snapshot number 1. So again, super useful. You can jump between any of these. So I'm just gonna, kind of jump between any of the snapshots at random. So here is the rhythm sound. And then let's say you need to go to the clean with the chorus. All with one button press. I find this very useful for a lot of users who just need a bunch of, a palette of basic sounds, and you can get them here in the snapshots. Now, remember, you can have up to 8, so you can think of different combinations you could do. For example, in snapshot number 6, we can do the clean channel, the amp, with the chorus on and the delay on, but the EQ off. So maybe this is like a heavily modulated kind of sound. And then you switch to just a regular clean sound. And for those of you who are gigging and you want to maybe build presets that are based on sections of each song instead of using different sounds, you could, of course, do snapshot 1 as like the intro of a song, the pre-chorus, the intro, verse, pre-chorus, bridge, outro. You can use the snapshots as different sections of the song instead of just different sounds. So this can be really useful. So when you're making a set list, let's say you are supposedly in a tribute band to a specific band or artist, You could build your presets based on each song in the set list. And then what you could do is each snapshot can be each section of the song. I find this also a very useful workflow for a lot of you gigging musicians, maybe that are in a tribute band, or maybe you're using, specific sounds for a band. So like a very common thing that I run into is that I will have like my main preset that I would be playing, and it would have these kinds of sounds in there with the snapshots, but then maybe there's one song that requires a very specific sound that I wouldn't use for the rest of the gig. I'll just build a preset for that one specific song. Maybe it's something with a very specific delay time, or maybe it's something with a very specific effect that I don't really use outside of that song. I'll build a preset just like that, and then I will use snapshots as the sections of the song. So that's a basic dive into snapshots. I think it's a very useful feature for a lot of users, and I highly recommend using that instead of just doing the tap dancing thing. But again, everybody's workflow is going to be different. Some people do prefer, just channel switching and turning on and off effects at will. But for those who want to take it a step further and just press one button to turn on multiple effects, snapshots are the key. So if you guys need any one-on-one help programming your Helix or any other modeler, I would love to help you out. Feel free to contact me directly, and we can set up a session. In the meantime, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.
I'm falling with you, I'm standing with you, got it all in my hands, but I don't know how to breathe. I'm walking